Morning everyone. My name is Pranav and I am from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering studying in CSC AIML C section, and today we are going to discuss one of the most important and interesting topic. Uh, Also we can say it as a question, and many of the scientists had researched and required require more information about it. So the topic is what happens if sun dies. Now coming to the introduction part, the presentation explores the process and consequences of the sun's end of life stages. So everyone might think at least once in their life what happens if sun dies or suddenly disappears. So in my part it covers the sun's life cycle, the physical changes during its death, and broader impacts on the solar system. Understanding these phases provides insight into stellar evolution and the future of our cosmic neighborhood and also our livelihood. Uh, at starting, I said the sun disappearance and sun's death. So many of them think that the consequences will be same, but most of them, like 90%, similar consequences will happen, but the impacts will be different. So coming if what happens if sun suddenly disappears? If sun suddenly disappears, many of the people think that we will not get light and we might die immediately. But it's not like that, because it takes almost 8 minutes to travel from sorry, it takes 8 minutes for sunlight to travel to earth. So even if suddenly sun disappears, until 8 minutes we'll get sunlight. After that everything will become dark. So the changes are like, it is like, the water levels will be increased, everything will turn into cold and slowly will become frozen, and like this our death happens. So now coming to the main topic, now what happens if sun dies? The sun's life cycle over review. Formation and main sequence phase. Before entering into the death of the sun, we should know how it is formed. The sun is formed from a cloud of gas and dust about 4.6 billion years ago. During the main sequence phase, it fuses hydrogen into helium in its core, which is a helpful gas combination which supports the life on Earth and makes stability. This stable phase will last for several billion years before changes begin. Though, so the first point is red giant expansion. So the sun death starts with the red giant expansion. I think many of them heard about this word, but I'll say that if the hydrogen fuel depletes, the sun will expand to its red giant. Its outer layers will swell dramatically, engulfing inner planets and altering the solar system's dynamics. This phase marks a critical transition toward the end of the sun's active life. So basically, the sun will, it is like it turns into a red giant, which is like, from normal sun size, it's 100 times more. The final stages of solar evolution. In its evolution, final stages of evolution, the sun sheds its outer layers, creating a planetary nebula. The core will cool, contracting into a white dwarf, which is also known as like a white star, an extremely dense remnant that will fade over billions of years, ceasing nuclear fusion. Now coming to the physical changes during sun. Until now we have seen that like what happens in its inner part. Now coming to the physical changes during the sun, core fusion process and its changes. During the sun's death, core fusion shifts from hydrogen to heavier metals. Eventually fusion stops as fuel is exhausted, leading to core collapse. This marks the end of energy production and triggers the star's outer transformation. Though, so the physical change will start with the helium gas and also hydrogen gas. When the whole fuel is exhausted, its inner core will be collapsed, which means the energy production gets stopped and triggers the star's outer transformation, which basically transforms into a large red giant. Outer layers expansion and shading. The sun's outer layers will expand and become unstable. It will become hard to control them. It sheds into space. This mass ejection forms the planetary nebula, dispersing elements into cosmos and impacting the surrounding space environment, which may create like heat waves in the environment and also like a big bang which creates heavy waves in the space. Coming to the formation of planetary nebula, as the sun nears the end of its life, it sheds its outer layers, creating a glowing shell of ionized gas known as a planetary nebula. This spectacular formation results from strong stellar winds and radiation, dispersing material into space and enriching the surrounding interstellar medium with heavier elements. The next is the consequences for the solar system. Till now, we have learned during the sun's death what changes will happen in the sun and its physical changes. Now, after the sun's death, what may affect to the solar system? Impact on inner planets, also known as which are inner planets are basically like planets which are close to the sun. The expansion of sun into a red giant will likely engulf Mercury and Venus in it, causing their destruction. Earth may face extreme heating, loss of atmosphere, and potential evaporation, making it uninhabitable and drastic, altering the inner solar system. So, Mercury and Venus are the two planets which are very close to the Sun. So, during the when the Sun turns into the red giant, the Mercury and Venus will be destroyed immediately because the gravitational pull of the Sun in as a red giant will be so much stronger that it immediately causes the destruction of Mercury and Venus. Earth may take some time, but it may face extreme heating, dramatical changes in atmosphere, the plants may die, water may evaporate, there will be no human existence, no animal existence, and nothing. So, before the earth destruction, the human existence and animal existence will be completely over. Now, changes in habitable zone. As the sun's luminosity increases, the habitable zone shifts outward. This shift means regions currently too cold for life could temporarily support liquid water, although stability in these zones will be limited and transits due to solar evolution. So the planets which are like really far from the sun, such as Uranus or Neptune, these planets are generally made up of water and some gases. Even though the sun is turned as red giant, the planets may exist for some amount of time because of its water and gas combination in it. But at the end of the day, they will also get distracted. Now, effects on outer planets and Kuiper belt. Outer planets will experience increased radiation and changes in solar wind, but largely remain intact. However, the Kuiper belt's icy bodies may be affected by the sun's mass loss and radiation, altering their orbits and physical properties. So the outer planets are like the planets which are not in our solar system, in other solar system. They may not get destroyed, but their atmosphere may get affected, like uh, increased radiation, changes in solar wind. Now coming to long-term cosmic outcomes, white dwarf formation and cooling. The sun's core will collapse into a white dwarf, a dense Earth-sized stellar remnant. Over billion of years, this white dwarf will cool and fade, gradually losing brightness without further nuclear fusion, making the final visible state of a star. So after the whole collision and destruction, the sun will get transformed into a white dwarf, which is like a star, which is lastly seen star in our solar system. Now coming to the sun's contribution to galactic material. Through mass loss and the planetary nebula phase, the sun enriches the galaxy with heavier elements like carbon and oxygen. These elements become building blocks for the new stars, planets, and potentially life, contributing to cosmic matter cycle. So even after the destruction, there is one helpful thing. After the destruction, the sun may release its carbon and oxygen particles, which helps in the formation of new stars, new planets, and new life, which is like a cycle. Death, living, again death, rebirth. Implications for future star systems. Materials expelled by the dying sun may become part of future star systems. The cycle of birth, death, and rebirth in stars underlines the ongoing evolution of the galaxy and the interconnectedness of stellar life cycles. So coming to the conclusion, the sun death is like a it has a stages, multi-stages process involving first is its inner changes such as like I said, the core gets destroyed, no physical changes which it transforms into a red giant, profound impacts on the solar system which consists like the destruction of the planets in our solar system, its transformation into red giant, planetary nebula existence, which releases carbon and oxygen, and ultimately a white dwarf reshapes the cosmic environment, highlighting our star's role in broader galactic ecosystems and future stellar generations. So, we can't prevent the sun's death. It is a natural cause. No human power can prevent the sun's death. So many of the scientists are like searching for a new planet existence and also thinking about going into the another solar system, another safe planet, so that human life will stay. Thanks for their contribution. And also the interesting part is the scientists discovered that the sun may also take 5 billion years for its death. So for future generations, the scientists are trying harder to find another planet. Thank you.